Deep in the forests of North America, there lived a giant named Paul Bunyan. Paul was born on a stormy day, and even as a child, he was remarkably strong. It's said that he started growing at an incredible rate, and by the time he was 10, he possessed unmatched strength. Paul lived in vast and dense forests, accompanied by his giant blue ox named Babe. Babe was Paul's closest friend, and together they embarked on numerous adventures. Paul worked tirelessly to clean and clear the forests, making it a better place for all creatures. Over time, the tales of Paul Bunyan became filled with thrilling adventures. It's told that he carved out lakes with his massive heart and created a river from his tears when he felt sorrow. He was said to bring summer with his tree shaking and winter with his sneezes, bringing forth snow. But perhaps the most exciting adventure was the story of how he created the famous Rocky Mountains. While he was working to settle the land and make it suitable for life, Paul decided to craft a comfortable bed for himself to sleep on. After he slept, the imprints of his giant footsteps remained on the ground. Over time, these footprints transformed into a massive chain of mountains, now known as the Rocky Mountains. Paul Bunyan lived a life brimming with adventures and bravery, possessing extraordinary abilities that amazed everyone. One day, while wandering through the North Woods, Paul encountered a new challenge. There was a raging storm threatening to destroy the forest and the animals' habitat. Without hesitation, Paul confronted the storm, rushing to gather the animals, birds, and trees, protecting them. He began lifting the massive pine trees with his strong hands and placing them in safe spots. He filled the water lakes to prevent flooding and assisted the animals in reaching secure shelters. Paul used his superhuman strength to face the terrifying storm, working diligently to shield everything in its path. Thanks to his heroic efforts, he managed to rescue the forest and every creature living within from destruction. When the storm faded and the weather calmed, the animals, trees, and even the winds and clouds thanked him for his heroic efforts. After Paul Bunyan finished facing the storm and protecting the forest, he returned to his massive dwelling deep within the woods. There, he lived with his loyal friend Babe, the giant blue ox who had accompanied him on most of his adventures. Since that incident, people began passing down stories and legends of Paul Bunyan from one generation to another, making it an integral part of American heritage. People spoke of his immense strength, bravery, and his love for protecting nature and animals. Over time, the tales of Paul Bunyan became a source of inspiration for many. These stories carried numerous values, including courage, teamwork, and the preservation of nature. Paul Bunyan stood as a living example of how an individual could make a difference in the world through noble and courageous actions. Paul Bunyan, the giant who lived in the North American forests, wasn't merely a legendary figure, but a symbol of faith and sacrifice. After enduring many trials and adventures, Paul decided to embark on one final journey through the woods. During this journey, he resolved to leave one last mark on the world before departing. He chose to plant massive and beautiful trees in various parts of the forest as a lasting memorial to his contribution to preserving nature and the environment. As he planted these trees, many animals and birds that Paul had protected throughout his life gathered around. These creatures of nature expressed their gratitude and thanks to him for all his efforts in safeguarding their home. Upon completing this final journey, Paul Bunyan smiled with happiness and contentment. His heart was filled with joy and satisfaction as he looked upon the forest, transformed into a more beautiful and vibrant place thanks to his dedicated work. On that day, Paul Bunyan disappeared into the depths of the forest, but his memory and legacy persisted and lived on in people's hearts. Future generations always recall the story of Paul Bunyan, remembering how, through bravery and collective effort, an individual can achieve numerous accomplishments and leave a lasting impact on the world. And so, the legacy of Paul Bunyan continues to live on through the generations, inspiring people with his noble values and love for nature and life in a world that needs more care,